Welcome to the Pool Podcast. This is Big Jack. I am here with Tom Arnold. Tom, thank you for joining the show today.
Big Tom.
Big Tom.
That's what they call me. I have a heart camp.
Do you?
And you have to have a camp name.
Yeah.
And Big Tommy, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I got Big Tommy behind me too.
I see you do.
Yeah, and I was actually looking at your shirt too, the Stay Sober. That
this shirt
looks very familiar.
There is a guy that my son's 12, my daughter's 9. I'm a single dad. And my son, they don't watch TV now. When I moved here in Los Angeles in 1988, there were 3 television networks. And I wrote on one of them. And then now there's a million things. And they're YouTube. And they follow these guys. There's a guy, first of all, they got to be cute. They got to be able to go at Target and fuck with people. Like who? Like I would not do that. But they also have merch. And there's a guy named Danny Duncan. His stuff is always sober, but there's a catch, But I like that my son got me this. He's like, you're sober, Dad. You always, yeah. I go, thank you. And I wore it. And I came home and he goes, Dad, you don't know it, but that's the Pornhub logo on that shirt.
And you're like, son, I actually know that.
I had actually made the shirt better for me.
Okay.
Funnier.
But you actually didn't know that then?
No, I knew that. Well, I didn't put it together.
Kidding.
But I'm very familiar. He also gave me another shirt that said, do MILFs, not drugs. And it was cute. And I wore it to parent-teacher meeting. And his teacher's like 27. She's looking at the shirt like, where'd you get the shirt? I go, oh, Jax gave it to me. Yeah. You know what a MILF is? And I go, yeah, that's like a mother, an attractive middle-aged mother. And she says, no, it's mothers I'd like to fuck. I had no idea.
Honestly?
I swear to God, I did not know that acronym. Like I see it. I pretend I know what everything is. So I turn it inside out.
Yeah, the horror, right?
Yeah. But I fortunately have a great relationship with everybody at the school.
Okay.
Although that could change it. But I thought of myself, I'm out with the moms that I all meet outside school, have a little circle and get all the gossip. And I thought, I had that shirt in front of them a couple times outside, like hanging out with these moms who are, half my age, because the kids are the same age.
Right.
Just chit-chatting like the cool guy with a filthy shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although, if it worked.
Yeah, you never know. Could have found wife number.
No, not ex-wife number 5.
Okay.
But I haven't had a date in 8 years, seriously.
God bless you.
Because you can have 3 ex-wives and still kind of go, women,
Right.
But if you have 4 ex-wives, you go, holy shit, it's me. And it is me 100%.
100%.
So 8 years. My dream is there's a play date. The mom's kids playing with my kids. And that's the only way you'd be able to date, I assume. And my dream is the mom turns to me and goes, hey, you want to go have sex in the closet? Yes, I do. Oh, my God, you're reading my mind. But that's not how it works.
No, unfortunately.
But believe me, I consider that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. The awkward play date thoughts, right?
Yeah.
This segment of the Pool Podcast is brought to you by Heartwood Home Detox. Well, listen, the purpose of the podcast typically is to just get an idea of your story, first of all, because it's fascinating, and you, being a person with a platform, we really appreciate you coming on. I would say that I'm more curious what a day in the life of Tom Arnold looks like as a sober person. Like, what do you do in the morning? Like, could you take us through the day of your life?
Well, today I had to get up very early because I had to fly up here. And so I got the kids rousted a little bit. Then I had the housekeeper who helps the kids come in early, so that when I walk out at 6, she's there. And then I reset the alarm for them. They're in my bed. I had about that much space to sleep. But reset the alarm. And then as I'm driving to the airport, my son calls me. Quinn doesn't want to go to school, my daughter.
Oh, boy.
And then I get, she FaceTimes me and she's crying. She's like, I feel like I have a temperature. And Rosa went in there, who speaks no English, but the kids do. It's crazy about that. She went in there, wrote me, she has no temperature. Rosa's tough. She's a great taskmaster because Rosa's children go to freaking school every day. There's not even any. So we split the difference. But the great thing, I said, well, you got to get in the car. Can I wear pajamas? Because I'll take her. She says she's sick. I'll take Jax to school. We have an hour and 10-minute drive.
Wow.
Jax to school. And then he gets out because if he knows she's staying home, he's like, oh, that's not fair. I want to stay home. It's a whole thing. And then he gets out and she's like, hey, Daddy, will you take me to the other gate? to drop me off. So we do that, and then she goes home. But I thought she wasn't sick before, and she threw up all over my coat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But today I could tell she just wanted to, it's the end of school.
Yep.
And she just wanted to stay home. And but she sucked it up. I said, I really appreciate it. I love you. You got to get in there. You got to get in there. Do your best.
Finish strong.
Yeah. We had a day last week where it was state test. And she was feeling under the weather. And I said, we got to go to school for early. When's the test? I asked the teacher, what portion of the day are these tests? And she told me, I said, you have to go to school for these 2 hours. Number one, then you won't get marked absent, and they won't hold it against your dad. You'll get maybe you left early, which is a whole different thing. So she went and did the 2 hours and came out. And, you wish everything would go the way you would like it.
Of course.
But with the kids, my things are I de-escalate and negotiate. And the kids have seen madness from their mom. Just the police, she swats us, she does this. Been in court for 8 years. My son's like, Daddy, why don't you have a Lambo? And I'm like, I could have a Lambo, but 8 years ago I got you guys.
My lawyer has a Lambo.
Yeah, by several. It's worth it. It's like every day I wake up and I see them and I'm like, that's it. That's the thing. That makes it worth it. And to be honest, I'm a better father because of the mother, because I don't take anything for granted. We don't let things go. We deal with things complete every day. We don't go, we'll deal with it tomorrow. Somebody's mad, some issue. Or, like in my case, a lot of men that have kids these age are young. And they'll say, well, they'll have issues and the mom will do stuff and then it'll affect the kids and they'll be like, well, when they're adults, they'll get it. I go, they'll understand. And I'm like, I don't know. My daughter's like, how old will we be when I go to college? I'm like, 75. She's like, I'm not going to college, Daddy. And I go, that's my girl. So we take it just like my sobriety. Every day is the day. Every day. And my sobriety is so important. I could not be the father I am. I'm a great father, but I just, it's shocking to me, this father, this man that I am, considering the things that I've done.
Yeah.
The way I've lived my life. I grew up in a small town, Ottumwa, Iowa, small farm town, meatpacking town.
Hormel, right?
I worked at Hormel on the kill floor. But growing up, everybody drank. By the time I was 12, drinking all the time.
Of course.
That's what you did. And here's the thing. In that small town, you either drank or you did drugs. You did not do. There was the greasers and the stoners. There was a big, there's a documentary series about my little sister.
I watched it.
Oh, the Queen of Meth. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, people like her.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't like you, but they like her. And she was the biggest drug dealer in America. And people are like, was it embarrassing having your sister be a drug dealer? I'm like, not when I was doing drugs.
No, it was the plug.
Oh, my God. She would come over. I had a single dad, too. And I'm the oldest of 7. And she'd come over Thanksgiving, and we'd all be sitting around the table. And she wouldn't even sit down. She had a big leather purse with her gun and her drugs in it. Wouldn't even sit down, kind of motion towards the garage to us other kids. We all get up, go to the garage, get in a circle, and she'd be like, Tommy, what do you want? And I'm like, whoa, what do you got?
Uppers, downers, all around.
She's like, everything. That's what I want. And that's my thing, always everything. I didn't drink till I was out of high school. I was arrested 7 times, so more than my sister, fighting with the police. We grew up in a town where the sheriff would be elected, some big redneck, and then he'd hire the deputies. They had no training except they could fight.
Yep.
Big, 6'7" guys who, when I was 15, I was fighting them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, fuck you, man. It's just crazy stuff. I got kicked out of McDonald's for drinking a beer one time, and I should have went right to the car, because all the cops are sitting there. And I went right up to the glass window and like, fuck you. And then I should have got to the car. But my friends were watching this, like, holy shit. I went to the bathroom in the back and the cop, they said he got up and slammed it. Bruce Allen got up and slammed his hat down, took his gun off, and then came in behind me in the bathroom I was peeing and smashed my head up against the wall. And then we rolled out into the street.
And what age is this?
I was 15.
Oh, my goodness.
So stupid. I mean, I would, the behavior, so dangerous.
Of course.
Always.
Yeah.
All the stuff with my motorcycles, with the shit, I was always the worst I had a group of friends that we did a lot of stuff, but I had to do more. So, very lucky. And I remember I was, the last time I was in a squad car in the back, and even Bruce Al, the cop, was feeling for me. We all went to Iowa, played Tennessee in a bowl game back then. And it was at the Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. So we piled a car, 8 of us, beer, whatever. We get down there, get to the stadium, get to our seat, and sitting next to me is big Bruce Allen, the cop from my hometown. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like,
somebody's got a sense of humor.
He's like, yeah, let's go Hawks. So he was off the clock.
Yeah.
That really taught me a lot about, these are human beings. Hopefully they think I am.
They have a job to do.
Yeah. But it was terrible. And people, my dad was the nicest man in our hometown. Very respectable family. The head of the Chamber of Commerce, the Cancer Society.
Wow.
And his a-hole son was getting arrested all the time. And he'd have to come and bail me out of jail. And my friends were like, I bet that's hard for your dad, bailing you out of jail. And I'm like, hey, he doesn't give a shit. The moment my son was born, I looked at him and went, oh, he did give a shit.
Yeah.
Because you give a shit about everything.
Yeah.
And I started, I've been doing a living amends for him by being clean and sober. But then we had a lot of talks about that.
You're in this small town, right? And then now all of a sudden, but you're 15, getting arrested 7 different times. Yeah. However, you decide that you want to go to, I remember seeing something where you were talking about going to college.
When I look now at my friend group, very solid guys, very successful in life, successful with families. I wanted to be a stand-up comic because the only time we ever heard my dad really laugh, was when there was a Bob Hope special on. Bob Hope was a comedian that used to go around to entertain the troops, and he'd take pretty women and do double entendre jokes.
Yep.
And that's what my dad liked. And I remember thinking, whatever Bob Hope does, that's what I'm going to do. Because I want my dad to laugh. So one of the first things I did in Hollywood was a Bob Hope special. And Bob Hope called my dad, signed all this stuff for my dad.
Wow.
And my dad, in the same living room, he used to watch Bob Hope when I was this big. Now I was watching Bob Hope standing next to his son on television.
That must have been a cool thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's magic. And then once that happened, I'm like, I got no other goals. But I knew I had to get out of my hometown.
For sure.
Because I see how things go there. My sister went to prison. So many members of the family died in prison. Lots of suicide. Lots of, and to be a stand-up comedian is a crazy idea. Nobody in my town ever did that or wanted to do that, or, it was I thought, I'll get on TV one time and everybody in my hometown will love me. And it turns out you could be on TV 1,000 times. There's always going to be people. But I had a drive, like, I could do this. And there was, the people in the town were like, yeah, if anybody could do it, Arnie can. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I got a lot of support from my hometown, still do. But I had to get to college.
Yeah.
The University of Iowa, that's a real college. And they had, all my friends went there, but they went there right from high school. And I knew I'd have to pay my way. And people are like, were you mad that no, are you grateful your dad didn't have any money to give you? I'm like, no, I'm not grateful. I wish he was rich.
Right.
I wish he was rich. But I had to work. The best job in town was a Hormel on the kill floor of the meatpacking plant. And so I worked there to save money. And about the third year, I was like, maybe it's not meant to be, maybe this is the best. But then I got fired because I got arrested for public nudity in an old folks home. My dad bailed me out of that too. And then that was the thing.
Behind that one.
Yeah, but that was my grandmother was like, that's the best job you'll ever have. You get benefits, My grandpa had worked there 50 years. We're Jewish, and we worked at a pork processing plant. That's what you do in the Midwest.
That's irony.
Yeah, my kids and I eat bacon every day too. But my grandpa would be like, hey, kids keep that on the down low, the Jewish thing.
Right.
Because, I said, there's not enough Jews to hate here.
Right.
There's not enough any minority. Everybody's the same, working class folks. So yeah, I knew if I had to get up there and getting fired was pretty devastating. I'm like, I screwed up my life, but it really was the impetus to, in fact, I still need some money. So my hometown put together this. I walked 21 miles in my underwear. You can Google this. From Albee, Iowa to Tubble, Iowa, the middle of winter, and people pledged per dollar to get my way paid through college. First time I was in the National Choir.
Brilliant.
First time I was in the New York Times, and it was a big deal. I like that. I got to tell you, I liked it.
The attention?
Yes. And it was a long friggin' walk, but I made it up, and everybody supported. They had trucks like NASCAR, all the sponsors. My buddy's dad owned this big car dealership.
Yeah.
And then I'm walking, and it's rough. The roads are windy, on gravel. Had a few people drive by, throw beer cans at me. Fuck you, Artie. Then I saw my grandma's car pull up on the other side.
Oh boy!
And they were filmed. I'm like, oh no, please. She gets out, full length mixed stole, her high heels. That's how she was, my dad's mom. And I see her walking towards me. Oh my God, this is so freaking embarrassing. She gets up and like walks with me for a certain amount of time. It's the uncoolest thing. Yeah. I know, but that's true. It was the uncoolest thing to me
at the time
ever. But it was she was wonderful. And my mom was a nut who left our family when I was 4. Always said she wasn't maternal. She was alcoholic. First drugs we ever did with our mom.
That's crazy.
And but I really can't complain because my grandmothers, both of them, were the best, and I was their favorite. And every kid deserves to be somebody's favorite.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah. Well, that's good because it sounds like you do the same thing with your kids today, right? It's probably made you a better parent to some degree, right?
Yeah, it does, because I think of the lessons. One grandmother, the meat packing plant's wife, didn't speak. She would sit next to me. She would make me food and eat, sit and watch me. Sit next to me, watch what I wanted to watch on TV. And I knew she wanted to be with me. Kids know that was great to have a person that genuinely wants to be with you. Because a lot of times adults are like, get out of here. Yeah. And then I had the other grandmother kiss me all the time, all that bullshit, the other side of it. So it definitely helped me to be a better parent. And, again, the program, I left, I got so much trouble. I had not done drugs till after high school. I smoked pot. My buddies were into smoking pot. I didn't like it. It was weird. It wasn't my thing. We took a white cross in a meatpacking plant. It's long hours. There's somebody go around and hand you these amphetamines.
Yep.
And but I still hadn't done hard drugs. In '83, I moved to Minneapolis from the University of Iowa because they had comedy clubs. And someone had offered me a job. Someone came to Iowa City, and I opened up for real comedians at the student union there. And what would happen is my 50 friends, we would drink Everclear Punch, which is powdered Gatorade and Everclear shots.
Unreal.
They all go to watch me, laugh, and then we'd all get up and leave before the real comedians got on. There'd be nobody there.
That's hilarious.
So the club owner at Minneapolis said, I will give you a job at my comedy club if you get your friends to stay next time. And I'm like, we'll do it. And so I got a trash bag full of clothes. I had $100. I had no driver's license, obviously, or car. And I showed up at the front door of the Comedy Cabaret, Minneapolis, and I said, hey, I need to live close to here because I don't have a car. And does anybody need a roommate? And he's like, whoa, no, you don't need to live close to here. The job I offered you was one weekend for $20. That's what we pay for the weekend. I'm like, shit, I left. I got to go to the bar over here and see if somebody needs a roommate. That's really what happened. I went there, got a job as a bouncer. One of the waitresses needed a roommate. It was $100 a month, 5 people living together, and just started, I knew I had to keep a real job, but
you still had a dream.
I know I did. And there was also opportunity. Those comedy clubs had open mic nights and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I used to love doing all the bullshit, which would kill me now, like
crowd work,
but driving all over the Midwest in the winter and sleeping on people's couches for nothing. I was like that. I had that thing. You got to have that thing where it's crazy. You have to have it. And then I moved up and started writing for Roseanne, my first ex-wife, came to town in 1983. I was 23.
How did you meet?
Well, the club owner said, "Hey, I went to Denver. I saw a woman. She's hilarious. This is before she was famous. I'm going to bring her in next week. I want you guys to do the weekend together. I think you'll really hit it off." And we did. She was a great comedian.
Yeah.
She's older than me.
One of the greatest television shows of all time.
Yeah, it was. It was a great opportunity to work on it, to write and produce and act. But so she was great. And we partied very freaky hard, like very hard. And every 3 months we do this little tour, partied very hard. When her show, she said, "I want you to come out and write my show. You write me the best stuff." Because I'd written her stuff that she'd use on Johnny Carson.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be back in Midwest watching Johnny Carson, watching her do a joke I'd written.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, wow, that's a good feeling. So I came out there to write the show, January of 1988. And I was out there, and she comes into my office and says, "Hey, do you do this every day?" And I go, "What, drink, drugs?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, I thought you only did it when we got together every 3 months." I go, "No, I do it every day if I can." In fact, I met a guy my first day here who deals in quantity, so it's more economical.
Yeah. Costco size.
Yes, it was. And she said, "That's bad." I go, "Is it?" "Yeah, that's bad if you do that." So that was the last time she ever saw me do drugs or drink.
Wow.
Or anybody did. I never did it in front of anybody again. I did it.
Oh.
I isolated.
Gotcha.
But I realized the general public does not like this.
No, not a fan.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna do it in front of people. And it came crashing down in the next year, in 1989. I got trouble, coke, fighting, police, drinking, and I said, "I'm going to go to rehab." I lost my job at the show. Our engagement ended, very public, and so I said, "I'm going to take myself to rehab because I need to be sober." I need to be sober, and my whole reason to go to rehab was to get my job back, to get my fiance.
Yeah, get the heat off.
Stay there long enough where they're like, "Okay, you got it. You're a good guy."
Yeah.
And they could be in the Entertainment Tonight and stuff. And on the 8th day I was there, my therapist, who I still see out at meetings in LA all these years, he said, "Have you ever considered getting sober for yourself?" And I'm like, "No."
Mm-hmm.
"How would I even do that?" He said, "Well, you got to love yourself." I said, "It's the funniest shit ever." I go, I don't see how that's possible. I look in the mirror, but I got a picture of myself when I was 4. And that kid, first of all, I love this kid right here. And that kid went through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Nobody was looking out for that kid.
Yeah.
And that now is my job. I need to be clean and sober to look out for this kid because he doesn't deserve to die from drugs and alcohol or end up in prison. So I carried that picture for a long time, but it changed the way I thought, that why it was important for me to get clean and sober. And then a couple weeks later, I called Roseanne and I said, "Hey, listen, I love you. I appreciate you. I completely understand why we're not getting married. I understand why I'm not working on the show anymore, but I'm going to stay here for myself."
That's awesome.
And she went, "Oh, we're getting married." And I immediately thought, oh my God, if I'd known I could have manipulated her that easy by saying, "I'm going to stay here for myself," I would have done that without even sitting on the feeling for. So we did get married right away.
But it was genuine, and that's the important thing.
Oh, no, I meant it. But I would have, I would have said it before if someone's like, "Here's what you got to say to me."
Of course.
But my whole thing was, I'm going to rehab to work on myself. But I was really thinking, I want people to like me.
Yep.
I don't want to seem like a crazy person.
Right.
I had no intention of, I had never considered.
Until your therapist.
Yeah. Never considered, So I went in rehab, in my first rehab. By the way, I'm going to tell you, I haven't drank since December 10th, 1989.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But at 19 years clean and sober, I was sponsoring some young heroin opioid guys. And I would tell them, "Guys, I don't get that. No interest." I was cocaine and alcohol. I got a little cocky with my program. And I wrecked my motorcycle on PCH on the highway there and broke my back. And the ambulance came and the guy gets out and he said, "Are you in pain?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he says, "Not anymore." He gave me a shot of fentanyl. And I remember thinking no, that's what I've been looking for. This is what I've needed my whole life. And
Sure.
A year later, I'm getting ready to take a 20-year cake. And I realized I'm not sober. I'm still on the pain medication from a year ago, So I had to start over. And starting over, I had so much of my self-esteem tied to having a lot of years, being a guy that looked out, helped other people, all this. And I'm just like, it was devastating for me. Devastating, very dark place. I went back into rehab, and I'm just sitting there by myself. And, I had some injuries too that were disgusting. And I was sitting there by myself. And by the way, I'll tell you why. Because they tried to do a step down from the 40, 50 oxys I was taking. Taper. And my colon exploded. And I went septic like that. I was in a coma for 3.5 weeks. And I have, nasty scar. And so when I woke up, the doctor's like, okay, I don't know if you know what happened, but I could tell I had a beard and had lost weight, which is good. He explains, okay, we do surgery. And then he shows me in a mirror, this part of my belly was wide open. They had to have it open to heal. And every day they'd come in and debrief, but this thing had to heal a certain way.
Because it was septic.
Yeah, before it closed. And then I go, okay, I get that. I can deal with that. And then he goes, one more thing. It shows me, and I have a colostomy. And I'm like, God damn it. Look what I've fucking done to myself by using drugs. This is, God damn it. And then he's like, well, it's for 90 days. You're lucky it's not permanent. And then I was like, okay, I got to get 90 days. But it's devastating. It's very dark. I had to be in the medical unit at Betty Ford. You're not even with and I remember at night, first of all, trying to figure out how to change this, put on new colostomy bag. Like, it's complicated. And you can see, it's so weird to see the inside of your own body. It doesn't, it's crazy the feeling. It's so depressed. I've never been as depressed since or before. Dark. Like the universe is, they say it's endless, but no, there's a wall right there and it's freaking dark. And I called my sponsor and I'm telling him about it. And he said, all the good things you've done before still count.
Yeah.
I go, really?
You didn't lose all that.
Yeah. And man, that saved my life because I had to, 20 years of, doing stuff. That still counts.
Yeah.
And, that's something I tell, because it's very humbling and humiliating, embarrassing to start over.
This segment of the Pull Podcast is brought to you by Golden Gate Recovery. You were getting sober originally the first time before the relapse, around a time where it wasn't the most popular thing. I think you were probably getting sober before, what are some of the other public figures like Iron Man?
Oh, Robert, yeah.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. There's a bunch of other Hollywood guys that you probably crossed paths with.
Yeah, well, they're part of the gang, the men's gang down there. I went to my first 12-step meeting in 1985 in Minneapolis. And I'm going to be honest, I went because Bonnie Raitt went. She's amazing. So people are like, well, those celebrities, well, whatever gets you there. And I stayed clean and sober for 6 months. Did the newspaper, the Star Tribune did an article, comedian ends drug tailspin, heads for show business high. Great article. The day that came out, people saw it. I bought some blow. I'm like, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. So that was, I sort of in, you're out, checking, meetings. And even when I had relapsed on the pain medication, I was still going to meetings. I still convinced myself I hadn't relapsed.
Right, because
you were part of my thing.
It was prescribed.
Yeah, but also I never left that group. I started meeting in 1990 at my house. It's still going to this day.
I love that.
And still going. The high quality people you meet in this program, just generally high quality, honest, of service.
Yep.
Is one of the great benefits of it. You meet some scumbags too, because we're addict alcoholics.
Sure.
What do you expect? But the quality of the people. My sponsor, in fact, 41 years ago, he was in prison, did a home invasion or shit, very young, 19 maybe, and his life was over. It seemed. And then somebody that I knew from the program, his dad called him and said, "Can you?" And he was very surly, but he stayed with him and helped him, and he ended up getting it together, and he never used or drank again.
That's amazing.
And 2 weeks ago, he became a federal judge, a Superior Court judge. That was always his dream.
Wow.
He was an attorney but you have to get some help if you got a felony on your thing. And he got help. I did what I could. I have a congressman friend and then worked his way up. And his his courtroom is next door to the family law courtroom where I am with the mom all the time.
Oh, geez.
But it just meant a lot to him. And I heard his dad, because I always thought, he doesn't have a backstory. What'd he do? You get arrested once? And so how do you even, but his father, who has been sober since then too, got up and talked about how it really was. And it was awful.
Yeah.
And, and so just extra inspirational. And a lot of people die.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
No, we all don't make it. And
Yeah.
that's sort of one of the other things. And honestly, my motivation behind doing this is just, spreading awareness, breaking the stigma of this whole thing.
I don't understand the stigma. But it's the disease that puts the stigma in your head. The disease that still wants to kill me every day. I don't hear it as loud.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing my shit, but when stuff starts rumbling, I'm like, I gotta connect with some people.
Yeah.
Because it does want to kill me.
Sure.
And it will always be there. I don't have, I'm not tempted to drink or use drugs, but if I let things go, I get closer to, hey, maybe that's okay or whatever, that bullshit, because I'm fully capable of becoming addicted to anything.
Of course.
First it's like, okay, cocaine, alcohol only, and then opioids. And then eventually, about 8.5 years ago, I became my own doctor and I was giving myself Xanax. It's the benzo.
How'd that work out?
Oh, awful, of course. It was the hardest, my marriage thing was terrible. I needed money. I did a job in South Africa where you jump out of an airplane in the middle of the night with nothing.
That doesn't sound like a
and
fun
you live
job.
in the jungle. You live in the world's biggest game reserve. Yeah, it was up. But I thought, I'm going to take one thing. I'm going to get some Xanax because I need that. I'm going to get 100 of those or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got back and I tried to just stop. I didn't. And
Seizure?
I'm close, but 2 weeks later, I'm still like this. Like, I've gotten off a lot of stuff. This is by far the hardest.
Yeah.
And it's very seductive because people don't talk about it. They're like, oh, he died from opioids, but they don't mention he also had benzos in his blood. Mm-hmm. That's the way it goes. If you're an addict, if you're going to do blow, you'll have your Xanax too.
Absolutely. To come
you got
down.
the full thing. And these things are very deadly. And so I went back to my third rehab. And down in Eric Clapton's, it's called Crossroads.
Familiar.
Great place. And the variety of rehabs, I went to, and the variety of people that you get to be around. And but I knew I got to do this. And I also knew I'm going to be raising my kids by myself. There's no excuses for any of this. So I went there and I completed it. And, they put you in groups of 4. They have a local, which is very cool. They give scholarships to people who live.
Love
and
that.
to get like people on the street. It was just wonderful. They're the best. And we had a guy, T-Bone, in our group. Last time he drank, he left his teeth on the ground for some reason, and a car ran over him. So he didn't have any teeth. And I loved him, and I got him some teeth. You aren't supposed to give. They were cheap there.
Right.
And so I got a lot of trouble for them. You aren't supposed to have money exchange.
It's like enabling.
Yeah, it is like enabling. But then there was a couple young guys, heroin guys, strict, and they were the smartest, best kids. I got to know their mothers, and just brilliant.
Yeah.
Everything onward and upward. And they each died, and a third was there within 5 months.
Unreal.
Yeah. They're all set up at halfway houses. Man, they got it. They're inspiring me. And that's
because you kept in touch.
Oh yeah. And then I kept in touch with their moms when, it happened in pretty rapid succession. I have no idea how you get over that. I think the moms are now telling their stories, which is really the best we could do. Mm-hmm. But it's awful. And I think today the drugs are more dangerous only because in Iowa, we smoke pot. A lot of times it's ditchweed. It's not powerful. We didn't do, back then people didn't take pills because, they had meth from my sister.
Yep.
She had this quality meth. She had an underground lab and a scientist, high quality meth. That's awful. But
not the cartel bullshit.
She got sick of dealing with them.
I believe
The Mexican mafia's like, fuck them, I'll make my own stuff. Like, that's really what happened. She was a great business person.
I could tell.
But I also knew, I'd say to her, Lori, this ends badly.
Only ends one or two ways.
And I think that she knew it because she was so overt about how she had an airplane in our small. She had a Jaguar with a license plate that said dealer. She bought all the people under her house, so she was beloved, like John Gotti, right?
Yeah, she put it on display.
Yeah, and the police, our seventh stepfather was the chief of police. He worked for her.
Yeah.
All the cops worked for her. So when the DEA guy's funny in the documentary, when they had to come into bus, they couldn't tell anybody, and they had to come in with a helicopter. They had to come in hard.
Yeah, I believe
because there's all
SWAT.
But I tell you, that's how it ends up. And then they take all her shit, and the government takes it. Whatever she thought was cool or whatever, it's all gone. And most important, her 7-year-old son lost both parents that day because his dad died in Leavenworth because he wouldn't apologize or turn on anybody. My sister did. She still had 10 years in a federal prison, which is, he was 17.
You can't get those back.
Yeah, you can't get those back. But I'll tell you what I did with him. He looks a little like you. His nickname's Biggie. Because, that's the nickname a big, giant white kid would have in Iowa. I sent him to there's a minor military school. Not like a hardcore, but you get to wear a uniform. So I sent him there, help raise him. That kid is a giant. He's bigger than you. He's 6'6". He's never done drugs. He's never drank.
I love that.
He has some anger issues, but he got married to a nice Jewish girl from Sacramento. They have a baby, like everything. And in the documentary, it's pretty great because he confronts his mother, and you can see him. You see how big he is, but in the front of a lot of his house. And I didn't think he was going to do it, but it was just,
powerful,
very powerful about what it felt like and what happened. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't want to confront those things. My sister, she's kind of, she's damaged. Mm-hmm. I mean, she doesn't quite, even when I was yelling at her about our mom and the thing, she's kind of, and she's been through a lot. So that's kind of how you end up. So,
are you or someone you love struggling with addiction? Align Recovery Centers provides a holistic approach offering comfort and care to focus your mind, body, and soul. The journey to lasting sobriety begins in Sonoma at Align Recovery Centers. Make the call today.
We started talking off by, what's a day in the life of Tom Arnold look like, right? And it's evolved a little bit, but being on the front lines of it, being in a public figure early on, back in the 80s, and then getting into recovery. I don't know about you, but when I got sober, first of all, I did the work to prove that it didn't work so that I could go back to doing what I wanted to do.
Of course.
And then all of a sudden it worked.
Yeah.
Why am I I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones. And part of this whole thing that I'm doing is I'm still trying to discover my purpose. Right. But the cool part is I'm curious where this is all going to go because I feel like I'm so lucky to even be alive. Right. Whether it's, waking up every morning and being grateful, like we were talking about, or trying to spread the word. Like you were out there basically 12-stepping a lot of celebrities back then. Right. I mean,
well, if someone's in trouble, this is the difference between who I used to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I just do it. And sometimes I'm like, who is that guy? He's maybe who I wanted to be, but he's like, and all the guys I know are like that. Huge service. They don't think, well, is this cool or is this pain in the ass? They show up. My sponsor sponsors like 20 guys. And, he's tight though. He's like, you have to call me at this time.
Yep.
But, you look around this gang of misfits like us, people that have done scumbag things, people that nobody trusted. And these are the guys that are walking around helping people. And I do the drug court and the veterans drug court.
Love that.
It's will be me and a judge and a sheriff, maybe an FBI agent. There's no reason for us ever to be, particularly to be younger. And we just want to help people. And we want to pass laws where give people a second chance, which is what they do. Clean sober for a year, work the whole time, test every day. You do that, your record's gone.
Yeah.
And so I went up to Ohio, Laverne County, Ohio, which is the hardest hit alleged opioid area. And so that the FBI had a contest because the kids, a whole generation of parents left and grandparents raised these kids. And we want to give the kids a chance. I mean, so we had an art contest, and any kind of art, show us what your childhood looked like when your parents were there. And it is crazy devastating and accurate. They're passed out of the couch. The baby's sitting there just playing with a toy. Horrible. And they're so talented. And, and I'm so grateful that we did that. And then we started a prison where mothers, new mothers who are drugs can go, and their child could go to too, and they take care of him in this other unit. Then they teach the woman how not to just be sober, but how to be a sober mother.
Where's this?
It's in Laverne County, Ohio.
Wow.
It's a new pilot thing. And, sometimes you get together these big organizations where, kind of the best thinkers of every, the dad that's son was a star athlete and, went to rehab, doing great, going to college, wakes up and he's dead because he got one pill.
One pill.
And how trying to understand that. And what can we do in technology and social media.
Sure.
You can't blame any of that totally. You can't go, my kid's problem. Like if there's a problem at school or a problem, I don't blame the school. I don't blame the teacher. I don't even blame their mom.
No.
Or, it's on me. It doesn't matter. I can blame everybody, but I got to figure it out.
Yeah. It's the responsibility aspect
the
of
same
it.
thing with social media. I tell like I said, if you get your feelings hurt on there, don't be on there. Because that's, I show them, they're aware of how people have a lot of opinions about me. They're also aware that I don't give a shit. Good. In fact, I find it funny. I'll see 20 nice comments, and I'm like, well, and then one really absurdly shitty one, and I'm like, that's the one I got to respond to. That's hilarious. So maybe when I was younger, I felt differently.
Yeah.
But, I keep track of their social media.
Yeah,
and
I hope
know
so. Yeah.
My daughter's 9. She does stuff for 9-year-olds. I can shut their stuff down from up here, and I get to read out every site they visit. I know everything they did, how long. I also listen. I listen to see, because there's a lot of great things about, his buddies are on social media or they're playing Fortnite, all guys together.
That's the big one.
People in Israel. My son was my best friend until he started playing Fortnite with his asshole buddies. And I'll walk into my own house and go, hey, son. He's like, Dad, shh, quiet. I don't want my friends to hear you. But then he'll see a picture. One of his friends will see a picture of me and Kobe or Tupac on the internet. He'll come in there. Daddy, we say hi to my friends? Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not. Fuck your friends. You're either in or you're out with me. Like, I've had too many relationships the bad way. You're either in or you're out. And so, but it's great. It's a lot of, I had a young assistant who just was with us 5 years, helped with the kids, helped with stuff. She went to make movies, but she was great because she was younger. She's a woman. I helped me with Quinn, my daughter's wardrobe, which apparently I did not know.
I would have thought you had that in the bag.
Well, I tried. I thought I did. But then as Quinn got older, it's like, yeah. And Sasha's right. She came and go, I don't think Quinn, I think you should get her something else. I go, no, she loves wearing an Iowa sweatshirt to school every day. She also, if I left the house, I'd go to the Improv, do a set. She'd be, focused mostly on Quinn, because sometimes her brother and their buddies are a little rough. And I was coming back from the Improv, and I turned my phone off because you got to sometimes. And coming back, and everybody's on the line. Sasha's freaked out, my sister. Oh my God, I shut the power off in the house. Quinn and I went outside and shut it off. We tried to shut it off in the game room. We don't know how, because Jax and his friends were watching porn. And I said, stop. And they did it. And I shut the power's still off the house. We can't figure out how to get back on, but he was watching porn. So I go, okay, calm down.
I love the effort, but
yeah, I'm sure my daughter's like, let's shut the power off, because she knows how to use the breaker box.
That's hilarious.
So I get home and she tells me what happened. She's very upset, Sasha and Quinn. And so we have cameras everywhere. We have 21 cameras inside and outside the house. And, people are like, that's the LA crime. And I'm like, no, they're for one person who will break into our house, call the police or accuse me and the kids or whatever. It's just good to have it. I lose a lot of stuff, so it's also good to have.
Yeah.
But we came in, sat down with Sasha and the boys, and the camera behind my son, see the whole screen, what they're doing.
Oh, boy.
And they were watching basketball. They were watching Steph Curry. And he had shorts back in the day. And they were talking about that, how much they love him.
Interesting.
And, so one of the rare times she was wrong, she's like, I'm so embarrassed.
And she took out the entire power on the block just to make sure.
She would. My daughter has a thing that, neighbors on palm trees, 100 foot tall, they'll wrap it with these LED lights. My daughter will go off for a walk, and one of those things shuts them off or change the neighbor's color. Like she figures out ways to
tap into the Bluetooth or something.
Yeah. Pretty clever.
Technology, man. Kids are way better at it than we are.
Yeah.
In the quiet hills of Marin County, there's a place where healing begins. A place where alcohol or drugs no longer control your life. At Live Oaks Wellness, we offer compassionate, client-centered care for those struggling with addiction. Our licensed drug and alcohol detox and residential programs are designed to help you take the first step toward recovery with a team that truly understands the journey. You don't have to walk this path alone. At Live Oaks, we're here to help you rebuild, restore, and reclaim your life. Take the first step today. Live Oaks Wellness. Healing starts here.
I'm not always like joyful, free, grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's dark and there's no way out of it. I got too many things. Got this bill, that bill, this thing, no work, whatever. It's too much and I can't fix it. I'm sitting there. I can't fix it, but I do a trick where I go, okay, do one thing. What is the one thing you don't want to do right now? Do you want to return a call, write a letter, some bullshit? And I do that one thing, and then I end up doing a second one.
Yep.
And by the end of every day so far, I look in the mirror, it's all good.
Yeah.
Because you can fake it in front of your kids, which I'm really good at. The legal stuff, I don't talk about their mom. I don't do, I think there's an awareness, but I be in my bedroom, I'm walking out, I got to put on a good face. I got to smile. And sometimes just doing that, you forget your shit. And then again, you look in the mirror, you're smiling because this thing, so.
It's like fake it till you make it, the saying in recovery, right?
But I have to also, because the kids' schedule is so now there's 2 schools, play dates, friends, doctor's appointments, this, that. I can't figure out. There's no being late. There's no letting my phone run out of juice like the old days.
Yeah.
There's no half-assing it. So I have Post-its up. Or if I go to my bathroom in the morning, it says, go read the Post-its on your computer. And it kind of works my way. And I plan shit. I have Asperger's. I'm on the spectrum a little bit. And you have to be able to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people deal with it by medicating themselves, which I completely understand.
Sure.
But there are ways that you learn to deal with it. Be prepared, organize, look people in the eye, be focused. Because I can easily spin off. I still have to work on that. We have a thing where, I walk in the house at night if I did a show or I did a big show for Music Cares, a concert where a lot of my heroes, Billy Idol, all these people, I was the MC, they performed. I'm feeling good about myself.
I bet.
Get in the house, tell the babysitter, go home. I go in my office, I get on the computer, and the next thing I know, it could be 6 hours. I check the sports, I check this, and this time I was on my computer, I felt somebody beside me, and it's my daughter, she's not even 2 yet, quit. And I look at her like, oh my God, you got to go to bed, honey. No, go back up to bed. Now, she had figured out a way to open the gate at the top of the stairs, get all the way down the stairs to find me. I said, you got to go to bed. I'll be up there in 5 minutes. And then I turn around and get on the computer, and I realize she's still standing there. And I look at her, and
She's
I realize
waiting for you to tuck her in.
She knows every lie I've ever told, too. She knew I was lying just then. I didn't know, but she knew. So from that point, with both kids, I don't say, I need 10 minutes before whatever. I think about it and go, I might need 15 minutes. They put me on a clock. They put me on a timer. And it's helpful to me.
Yeah. And
also, when they get off school, I go, what do you do in your homework? Oh, 20 minutes. Oh, do you mean 20 minutes? You're on the timer. So, you can't, sometimes it feels good to just go off. And it's very frustrating, too. You think of 10 things. This needs fixed. I got to call yet it's too much.
When you think about it all at once, yeah, it's overwhelming, right? But recovery, at least for me, the accountability and the structure of things, like you said, even just being held accountable to a 15-minute, if that's what you said, and they're going to hold you. I remember an Elon Musk quote that said something along the lines of, if you give me 30 minutes to clean my room, it'll take 30 minutes. But if you give me 30 days, it'll take me 30 days, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good quote.
This procrastination, all these things, all very similar things that like all of us go through in addiction, right?
Well, I do. I walk to the house, I'll see something that he's fixed. The old me like, okay, I'm gonna get that. That's up here. I got it up here. But now I literally stop, get the tools, fix it. Because I know if I don't, it'll be there tomorrow, it'll be there next day, and it just piles on my head of all the shit I got to do.
Yeah.
And it's too much. And it's much easier to be sober when you clear that shit out. Because sometimes shit does need to be fixed.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we need to fix it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My whole sobriety for me was very simple, and I have to keep it simple, which is what is the next right thing? And sometimes it is the most difficult thing because then it starts a trend of continuing to want to do things. I accomplish one thing, I feel good about it, then I want to accomplish another. Mm-hmm. Even just getting out of bed in the morning can be a task sometimes when you're in the shit.
Yeah, of course.
But like even just taking that shower and feeling different, it just changes your whole mind frame, which is the importance for me behind prayer, meditation, and the things that were taught in the program. Do you have a daily, first 15 minutes of your morning where like you need quiet time? Do you meditate? Are you a guy like?
Well, first, I got to take the kids to school. That's it. Then I get home and sit, and I'll do, I guess you call it meditating, praying, talking to God. A lot of people are like, I don't believe in God. I go, well, here's what you do. Did you create all this? No, I did it.
Yep.
And so whatever that is, that's what it's a lot off my shoulders knowing I'm not responsible for everything.
Yeah.
But I do take the time. I'll maybe check in with a couple guys.
Yep.
And I think about what my day is going to be like instead of jumping to one thing. What I actually sit and think, okay, I go over here. That's where it is. I got to do this. And I just breathe.
Yeah.
And the breathing is so important. And,
so important. I believe that's where meditation is for me.
Oh, for sure.
It's just the deep breaths to kind of reset. Mm-hmm. It kind of allows things to settle in, and then you can focus on one thing, right? This segment of the Pull Podcast is brought to you by Creekside Recovery. The greatest thing that has allowed me to not drink on a daily basis is, like you said, not giving a shit what other people think.
Right.
It took me a long time. It took me, and I'd be lying if I said it didn't affect me to some degree.
Of course.
Little bit. For the most part today, like I'm very comfortable with who I become as a result of being in recovery, to the point where like I know the people that love and care about me the most.
Yeah.
As long as they're okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have nothing to prove to anybody.
That's right. And I think something to, when people first get sober, they can be in a marriage with a great person, but the dynamic of that relationship since they've been together is good guy, bad guy. Mm-hmm. And the wife or the husband, they get used to that. So all of a sudden it gets sober and it changes everything. And it's very hard for people, even good people, to accept that the dynamic, it's good guy. Like it's because they got so much out of taking care of people like me or you.
Yeah.
That was where they got self. I've had a girlfriend say, you quit drinking? What am I going to do now?
Where's her purpose now?
Yeah. And, but you see that, and people can work through it. They go to Al-Anon, therapy. But there is a moment where like, shit, he's not lying every time he opens his mouth. What do I don't have to follow him around.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? But there are people, you get clean and sober, people close to you that want to still shame you. And they're out. You can't be around those people. You think, well, I don't give a shit if it's your mother, whoever. For a period of time, they're out. Because what they don't understand is this inside of us shames us more than any of these fuckers.
100%.
Yeah. And it's not helpful because we just want to live. It is life and death. And being around that shame, maybe in a year when you're sober a year, then you could be ready for whatever. But in the moment, you're like a patient with their chest cut open, man. Everything needs to be as good as possible.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
The daily battle of winning, your thoughts. The less I'm in my head, the better, which is why I like to stay busy. The structure, the accountability I mentioned, all that stuff plays into the fact that like, at least I don't have to live up here when I'm in that motion. Right.
And it's shocking how great our lives are. The fact you have this big pocket, we're sitting here, we're talking about whatever, that's not how it would have been.
No.
And it's hard to be successful because the voice in your head wants to keep us down. Like you don't have it, you'll never do. So when you get success, it puts people off kilter a little bit. Like I said I wanted this, but And a lot of times people are self-destructive.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to bring it back before we wrap up and everything, but I wanted to bring it back because I saw an interesting podcast with you and Armie Hammer. And I found that really interesting because there's probably a lot of people that maybe wouldn't have given him the shot or the time of day because they were worried about maybe attaching themselves to the name. And for somebody that's been through this, at least for myself, I'm thinking to myself, like, he deserves a chance at redemption just like all of us to some degree. But can you tell us about that experience?
Well, before that, I noted very well the last 3 years, when his shit hit the fan for him. I knew of him before that, but getting to know people through 12-step program, through at their lowest point, that happens a lot. And you really get to know what they're made of. Are they going to take responsibility? Are they just going to project? Are they going to be, I'm a victim of this shit? Whatever. And like all of us, at first he was a little defensive about what he goes, no, I didn't mean that or whatever. They knew, the women knew. But then he slowly started, first of all, his chemical abuse, he dealt with that. And then he started going, I am responsible for everything. This is all on me. And there was a power dynamic with those women. Yeah. And, it's wrong. And I deserve to lose everything and start over and figure out who I am. He's got kids the same age as mine. They go to the same school now.
Oh, that's cool.
But I've grown to love him. He's hilarious, self-deprecating. Yeah. And if you know anything about his family, you got to, sometimes you hear about somebody's family and go, well,
that makes
a lot of things make sense. Yeah. But his family history, Jesus, there's a documentary series about his family too. So, I got to know him, sweet guy, but also embracing, being a better person and humbly, he lost everything. Everything.
As most of us do.
Yeah. Yeah. But most of us don't have that far.
This is true.
It's like, billionaires or family.
Yeah.
But we will lose everything. And I really respect how humble and he likes it. He likes this life. Anyway, so he said he'd doing a podcast. And would I be his first guest? I go, yeah, absolutely. So give me the address. He goes, well, my apartment's not great. I go, okay. So down in Venice. So literally they were filming when I walked in and I met it like, what? Is this a fucking closet? Like it looked like a closet that still needed work. It was. They didn't have any toilet paper roll. Like it was that was his living room. And there was a bedroom, sort of tiny bedroom next, but it was scary, but he loved it. He had to sell his truck because he couldn't afford gas. And this was what he was doing. It wasn't just a one-off. This is where he lived. And every day he gets up at 5 a.m. and drives to the rich part of town where our kids go to school, gets his daughter and his son, takes them, spends time, with them. He's able to co-parent with their mom. She was very mad at first. Of course she would be. Like, I think they were getting a divorce or kind of apart, but still, and then she needs him and she's great. And, but I really enjoy him. It's interesting because he's 6'5" and he blends into a crowd. Like every time I see him outside the gate of school, I don't recognize him because he has a little hat on or he just does this thing. It's up against a pole.
But 6'5".
Yeah. 6'5".
Stands out.
Extremely handsome. But he's funny. And I love what he interviewed his mother on the podcast too, because that shows you a little bit about, she's a born again evangelical. His family was Jewish and she's a preacher in Kansas, like proselytizes, goes around trying to save people.
Fascinating.
She was talking about God with him, tried to sell him on it. And she said, he goes, well, what do you do? You should pray more. She says, well, what do you get when you pray? He said to his mom, she goes, you know what? I prayed for a parking space and there's one right out in front of this building. And he goes, no, there's no parking. They will tow you. It says the sign say, do not park here. They'll tow you quick.
It's hilarious.
But it's funny seeing her thing. And he's funny enough to get that. And I wish he'd be starting to work a little in Europe. And he gets a lot of self-esteem from that, as I do.
Yeah.
The opportunity to work. It's not the huge jobs. We've both done huge jobs in the past. But I'm grateful to whatever job I have.
Well, I'll be honest, you're one of our first guests on this podcast. And quite frankly, we thought of you because of your story, right?
Right.
Like, that's a cool way to be thought of, if anything, right? I mean, of course, you have all the accolades of a successful movie star career and stand-up comedian and all these things. But I think the thing I respect most about you is the fact that you're sober and the fact that you are out there on the front lines trying to help people on a regular basis. Yeah. Practicing the principles, right?
It is... I have done some incredible things. It's like, but you got to be able to take a step back and go, look what's gone on for this kid in Tubble, Iowa, all this bullshit, pedophile across the street. My mom left me with him and raped me. And I went back but I got sober and found the guy, by the way. And
I heard
it was so satisfying. And 30 other boys came forward. I mean, it was like, to be able to do stuff like that.
Take your power back.
Yeah, take your power back. I'm like, that guy. The reason I did is because I didn't want to be at Walmart in my hometown and have that guy behind me and go, see the famous guy? I fucked him. Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna take this over. I'm gonna find this dude.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get this.
God bless you.
But yeah, that's helped me stay sober because that thing in me is a lot of people have those trauma. Yeah, trauma. And boys, that might be gay that a man raped a 4-year-old. That might be a gay. Nobody understand that. But the more they talk about it, Army has dealt with stuff, his priest or what, I don't know what. But once you get clean and sober, first of all, you have to get clean and sober to know if you have a mental illness.
For sure.
You can't just take some time, see what the deal is. And then it takes a while for that other shit to come up. But it is coming up now. I always thought it was like I'd look at the sky, be random clouds all over. And then one day all the clouds came together and it was that thing. And I remembered it viscerally. I could smell the laundry in the guy's backyard. So I'm like, I got to do something. I work with my sponsor so I don't kill him. But, he was about to adopt his 4th son. My younger brothers found it. My younger brothers are very good about finding people. And I'm like, it's go time, man. I'm going to go in there. And he was in Des Moines. He didn't live in Ottumwa. And big businessman, big church leader, big. So I walk into this place of business and I get the receptionist. She's like, oh my God, it's Tom Arnold because it's Iowa. I go, I'm here to see Terry Williams. She goes, I'll tell him. I go, don't tell him. I'll surprise him. Where's his office? And I planned this shit out. He comes out of the office. I hadn't seen him since I was a kid. I was like, he's a pretty big dude. But I start by thinking, I'm here to give you back the pain and shame you caused me as a kid. And if you try to do that to me now, and he came right up on me and stuck his finger in my chest. And for a second,
wow.
He goes, your memories are wrong, which tells me for a second, I was 4. I was in the room behind the front door. There's a secret little thing locked. I could feel the wood smashed up against my face. It was very violent, very violent. And then I went, no, I'm not 4. I'm a full-grown fucking man. So I grabbed his hand. I said, like I said, if you tried to do that to me now, I would break your fucking neck. And eyeball to eyeball, everybody that worked for him would come out, heard the whole thing.
Good.
Yeah, good. I walked out of there fucking, oh my God, it felt so good. I called Roseanne. I did it, man. I did it, And then the Iowa State Capitol's across the street. And I had trouble with the law enforcement because they go statute of limitations.
Yeah, you can't prosecute.
And, they've changed the laws a lot because kids don't really know that there's statute, So I walk into the governor's office and go, you got to stop this adoption. He's about to adopt his 4th son, whatever. She's like, no, Tom, that's a federal offense. You're asking me to commit a federal offense. You being here asked me to commit a federal offense. It's federal offenses for everybody. This did not happen.
That's bizarre.
I need you to leave, Tom. This didn't happen. And so I was very bummed.
Yeah.
And then 4 days later, my brother called, goes, the adoption fell through. Some kind of paperwork snafu for real. And
for real?
Yeah, for real.
Oh, that's
and
bad.
So I credit even though he's a Republican, I credit that governor and for doing that, however you do it. And I had my brothers go up every 3 days to put up posters, kid high, around the guy's house, his face, his address, his crimes, because I wanted to warn the other kids in the neighborhood, the new kids.
That's amazing.
And so he ended up losing, everything. And at my sister's first drug trial, a woman came up, a friend of hers said, yeah, because I'd said his name, and she goes, I know that, Terry Williams, and I know he did that to you because he did it to my husband too, who was his brother, his little brother. And so, very satisfied that, because when I first wanted to deal with it, I went back to my hometown, my old neighborhood, and the boys my age, they wouldn't talk about it. They're men, because again, they thought it was a gay thing, but their older sisters would talk about it, who I'd known from the neighborhood. And it was very helpful getting square and then doing the research and then doing it like a sober person, not a maniac.
Yeah.
And so Eddie, we don't always have to confront people. They might be dead, people that abuse this or whatever, but there is a way to deal with it. And in this program, there is a way to deal with it. So you don't have to, because we don't want to be fighting ghosts when we're parents.
No.
We want to, so there's a way to get rid of that shit.
There's a reason why the rear view mirror is much smaller than the windshield in front of you, right? Like,
why?
It's so cool to have the opportunity to be able to be in recovery and go back and fix
try
to fix things or amend things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the term we use to amend some things, but also to face some of them too, right?
Absolutely.
And then that way I could only imagine that probably catapulted your recovery and the way you felt about things.
It did. It did.
Like you said, the clouds coming in together and just knowing.
Well, I was one of the first men. There was a woman, a friend of mine, Marilyn Vandermeer Adler, who was Miss America in the early 60s, 50s. Like the rich family from Denver. And while she was Miss America, her dad committed rape her. Her dad was a huge businessman. Jesus. And she dealt with that. She deals with it now. She's the best. She goes, speaks at all these places, so inspirational. But so the fact that she did it came forward. And a lot of her family she lost because they didn't want to. But the fact that she did it, and it was incest. And that's got a whole freaking stigma.
Yeah.
But I'm like, she's so brave. I got to know her and said, you got to talk about it as a man too. Just say what it is. Don't, make a joke. Oh, this guy, he touched me, whatever. Just say what happened. And some people will make fun of you, but it will connect with other people.
You probably saved a lot of people's lives, or at least gave people, you said, 30 kids came forward, right?
And that's shame.
Not just that, but you probably stopped the guy from continuing to do it.
I hope so. Yeah. But also the shame that we carry. And I have no shame talking about anything in my sober story anymore.
Love that.
I don't, but it took a while to get there. Yeah. Like, guys, they first get sober, they're going to tell all, except there's a couple things that, when they're being honest with their family and friends, there's a couple things they leave out.
Yeah. We know that's not a good thing, right? We have it
comes back and haunts.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't be clean and sober and living an honest life and have prostitutes and girlfriends when you have a wife. Like you could get divorced from the wife. You can be honest. But if you have this second thing that's going on all the time, it doesn't work because you're not fully honest. The universe and that kind of lying, and people can be with sex workers, whatever they want to do, but lying about it, bringing them into your family. You could get divorced, say, I just want to be with sex workers. Great. That's what you do. But that negative thing, the universe, every lie we tell is out there. That's a fact.
Yep.
And it's negative. And every good thing is out there. But, being rigorously honest is very hard.
Hard at first, yeah.
It's a learned skill too.
Yeah.
Because you could hurt other people's feelings. They say make amends, except when to do so would injure them or others. Go to prison, whatever. You do have to share that with somebody. But you also don't want to be like, I'm rigorously honest, I'm sober. I don't like the way your hair looks. I don't like the way you're fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just being rigorously honest. And you're like, you just want to punch that person.
Yeah, no, you maybe want to leave that part out.
Yeah,
right?
You don't have to be cruel.
No, you don't have to be cruel.
Do not have to be cruel.
No.
Yeah.
But I get it. And that's just really cool. But I think we'll probably wrap up.
Thank you, buddy.
But listen, man, I'm such a fan.
Thank you.
And I think really just your story is so powerful. And the fact that you were willing to come out here and do this, I think that shows just what kind of person you are.
Yeah. Well, I love what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
It's very important.
I appreciate that.
It's very important. Get it. People receive the message in different ways.
They do.
And people love podcasts, man.
Yeah.
That's a new thing.
It's a trend.
Yeah. But people are thinking if comfortably in the privacy of their own home, hear a message that they're like, I'm going to get the courage to fucking do this shit. It works out. It works out. These guys are doing well. You also let people know from your website where to get rehabs that take insurance or whatever, different kinds of things, different locations, because a lot of people have different kinds of addictions.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very helpful thing too.
Right on.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.